with that, we'll start off with wrestling, talking about Raw. Last night, Monday Night Raw hit a new record low, the second lowest rating they had in the year. Monday Night Raw final rating was a 2.32, which it got a 2.50 last week. This is the lowest rating of the year. Now, I said this is the lowest rating of the year since they went against the NCAA college football playoffs. 2.32 Raw got. Now get this, of course, the NBA playoffs on TBS drew a 3.21 million viewers, and also a 4.42 million viewers. Of course. So that being said, new record low. Raw only is barely scraping over 2 million viewers. What is the problem? And see, Gameboy, I know you like going last, so I'm going to flip it around instead of one angry Mark. What is the problem? Why is Raw getting barely 2 million people watching it?
It's not necessarily a problem. It's a generational gap, okay? What the ratings are showing is Attitude Era fans are getting older and have no respect for the current product, okay? They're dropping like flies, okay? I mean, anybody between the ages of 30 and 45, okay, who were tuning in 96 through 2000, even 2005, there was no interest there because we were all spoiled by good storylines, good booking. Now, what we got is we have a time and place where, Vince is telling Shane, all right, hey, you go out there. The internet wrestling community is not going to smear you like they would me. We know the ratings are going to go down by introducing all this new talent all at once. So you go out there, they're not going to put heat on you because they like you. So all this is WWE knew the drop was coming, and they put Shane out there, and hoping just to retain some of the audience, okay, a good portion, without the internet wrestling community, all the dirt sheets, without giving a bunch of shit, because they're not going to talk shit about Shane, okay? They won't, okay, because everybody's counting down the days until Vince McMahon's retirement. Like, literally, I mean, Michael Cole probably has, like, Post-it notes with little tally marks on it that he's been doing for 10 years, And, yeah, I mean, the ratings are going down because you're losing your Attitude Era audience. They're gone. They're gone. And it's not coming back. My projections are 5 years from now, wrestling will be lucky to draw 2 million viewers on a Monday night. It's going to continue to go down. It's going to. It's going to. WWE is trying to get more streaming going. They're trying to get more social media going. USA Network will not give them as much money when they renegotiate because of the ratings drop. And I said this last night on another show. My prediction is you are going to see NXT get some type of offer, big offer, okay, and it is going to be on a streaming service. It's going to be on a Netflix or a Hulu within 5 years. It will not be on the WWE network because the network's not making enough money. Not even. Network cannot justify the $500 million investment. Okay. It can't. And SmackDown is secondary. Raw is dropping. A brand split is no longer a necessity. It's a must. You have too much talent, not enough belts. Okay? So you're never going to get Raw back to where it was, but what you need to do is increase your other shows and balance it out across the board. So if you're drawing 2.5 million viewers on Monday Night Raw, if you can draw 1.5 on SmackDown, then you're presenting USA with 4 million viewers a week. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now you've got some negotiating power. Now you bring NXT into the fold for a 1-hour show a couple years down the road. they draw a 1.5. Now you're giving USA Network 5.5 million eyeballs a week. That's how WWE is going to make its money. They got to separate the brands. They got to increase the quality across the board on each different show and make it special. Then go back to the table with USA Network and see what they can do. That's my thoughts, and usually not toot my own horn, but I'm usually right.
So, team.
Well, actually, I was looking at the product last night, because they've been in England, and English should have been like a popping crowd last night. But as I was looking at the match, it seemed like most of the audience wasn't even interested in the show. They was just doing their own thing, like entertaining themselves. And I'm like, okay, this is really weird. It was just a weird night last night, and it should have been something, because usually overseas, wrestling is like popular. Like I say, in Japan, wrestling is like culture over there. So I know the Japan audience will go crazy over it. But in England, I was pretty surprised with that. So last night, it didn't surprise me, because they had the same main event like they had before on SmackDown weeks ago and probably months ago, WrestleMania, I believe, with Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens. I mean, it was a good match, but still, I think people wanted to see something different last night. So that was my thoughts on that. Short and sweet.
NSC.
Well,
I'll go last.
What can I say? It wasn't horrible, but it had moments. I think Angry Mark really hit the nail on the head, and we pretty much just, I'll say, writing the chalk from this point. The WWE is a show of its former self. Looking at Raw and with Shane McMahon, and I love Shane McMahon, and I think that him being there is definitely helping tremendously for the internet. But the problem is that Vince McMahon still has the back control. He still has his hand in it, and he really needs to go. He really needs to let and step down. The product is suffering horribly, and you can tell that the fans are just not in it. And even the younger fans, they always say that, as long as you get a reaction, then that's good. But what happens when you constantly get negative reaction, when you constantly get people, it just, you have better products out there, you have better TV shows out there, because you got a Gotham also that was coming on that had a brand new episode. Then you got the NBA playoffs that's going on. That's going to last for another month or so, another month or two. And then on top of that, you got
NHL.
The NHL, the Stanley Cup playoffs and stuff. You got all these things going on. And, on top of that, you're trying to showcase these new stars. You're trying to push them with these new storylines and stuff. And a lot of times, it's not really the stars. It's really just the storyline. These storylines are garbage. And it's like you're taking these NXT guys who came from a great brand, who came from great storylines, and you get them these shitty storylines. And then on top of that, you're introducing them to the fans, trying to live off the pop of WrestleMania, and it's really just not connecting. This was a tape show. So this wasn't live last night. And people just wasn't feeling it. The writing is already on the wall. We've been saying it for weeks. Raw, it really needs to do something drastically. Their stocks and their endorsements, and even with USA itself is not even doing that great. If you look at some of the programming USA is carrying, some of their shows are suffering. You know what I mean? A lot of their shows is grand opening, grand closing. So they need some new blood in there. They need some younger viewers in there to tune in. And they're banking on the WWE to try to bring that. So, to piggyback on what Angry Mark said, yes, the brand split definitely need to happen like 2 years ago. But on top of that, they need to introduce something completely new. They need to go a direction that nobody thinks of, that no one has thought of, or if something creates something that is completely not non-WWE in order to save it, because their films are shitty, their shows are shitty, their merch is okay, but it's only okay if the stars is okay, because if you keep getting them shitty storylines, people don't want to wear loser clothes. I don't want to wear a shirt to a guy who don't win matches, or who don't have belts and stuff, or who's just not that appealing. So the WWE needs to do something completely drastic. They need to go in a direction that I don't know what to tell them, because I haven't sat down and thought about it, but they need something to, not just the wrestling, but the brand. The brand is suffering. And if the brand goes, then everything goes. And that's the problem with the WWE.
Now, let me chime in on a little bit of what you said.
Wait a minute. I ain't even say my piece yet.
I just got to pick on him real quick. I'm allowed to pick.
No,
I just want to
go ahead.
Gameboy, this is very cool. I can't believe a black guy brought up the hockey playoffs, because here in the U.S., I don't think no motherfucker watches it. I think it's people from Canada on DirecTV, that watch that shit. We got like 20 NHL teams. They all do piss-poor ratings, okay? Their own mothers don't watch that shit, let alone I got plenty of black friends, and when I say ice hockey, they look at me and they're like, brother, we hate the cold weather. What the fuck you smoking? You going to catch me on a pair of fucking blades on ice? No. So I just wanted to commend you for having the balls as a black man to say the WWE is hurting because of hockey.
Yes, and to even add more to that, I think that it was very disrespectful that the Philly audience did what they did. When they had that moment, because they lost their coach, and I seen the video of them throwing beer cups and booing and all that. Even their own players, sat up there and was like, damn, these men, they lost their own guys. I understand sports.
Pennsylvania people. Yeah, Pennsylvania people, Gameboy, are, with like Philly and shit. Those Philly fans are the worst in the NFL. I don't want to hear loyalty. Those motherfuckers are pure evil. Okay? Philly fans are evil. ECW fans out of Philly, they aren't loyal. They're evil. All them motherfuckers that cheer for shit in Philadelphia, they are the fucking devil. Okay? Bobby Boucher's mama told me so. Okay? Yeah. So just want to get that out there. And I live in PA, but I moved far from Philly, so I didn't get possessed by the devil and drinking cheap beer like all them fuckers in Philly.
Well, I just wanted to chime in on that part. Good looking on that, Mark. You know what I'm saying? Well, Tech, I know you wanted to go ahead and get your thoughts on.
It's all good. I just want to mention that we do have a former professional hockey player of 13 years, that follow us, George Larquette, former NHL hockey player for the Coyotes, for the Houston Oilers. He's a motivational speaker, radio host, follows Under the Mat Radio. He is a fan. Just want to mention, yes, hockey. Yes, I mentioned hockey. Everybody was hockey fans back in the 90s, and it was on Fox and in the 80s.
Not all.
Hockey's ratings. Well, Mike, you're white, so by default you can just like hockey. It's cool. But hockey's ratings, because in hockey there's been no Canadian team that made the playoffs. First time in a long time. Hockey's ratings has went down 61% since last year, but yet they still beat out SmackDown in ratings and TNA. That's pretty much it. And watch any hockey game is more entertaining than Raw. It definitely is. But Mondays aren't Mondays anymore. Kind of took it from one of my favorite promos from Hogan with the NWO when he said Arn won't be Arn anymore. Mondays aren't Mondays anymore how they used to be during the Monday Night War time. Me and the Gameboy, remember Angry Mark, I know you do. Salt, I know you did. Like you said, WWE has to change. Shane is back, but Vince still rules with the iron fist. Vince just got to get bookers. Just get rid of writers, get rid of TV writers, and get someone that actually was a wrestler that knows how to write for wrestlers. And even though he's entertainment, still, like how great WWE was in the aggression era, in the ruthless aggression, the early millennium, the mid-millennium. Great times. Now you got all these TV writers writing for Raw and SmackDown. Nobody really cares. So WWE, and with social media, take advantage of it. There's so much stuff, so much more resources you have now than you did back in the 90s. You can use that to up your product. But it just don't. I saw a glimpse of Raw. And like Saltine said, it was so quiet, you thought it was an empty arena match.
Well, they did pump applause and boos into the edit. I do know that for a fact, okay, because of the 4-hour time delay. By the time they got everything edited, they did pump in. But I do got to disagree with you on the writing. You do not want wrestlers writing for wrestlers. You don't, okay? That's what happens, and you get shitty storylines. The best storylines that were ever done.
Can it be any worse than now?
But here's the thing. You can't have wrestlers do it. You got to have brilliant, entertaining minds do it that can come in and look at talent for what they are. See how they talk. See their mannerisms. Let experienced writers write for these people. Don't bring in Dewey Foley, who writes a blog, who is the son of Mick Foley. Okay.
You're not talking about him,
yeah. Who gives a shit? Okay, Dewey is an assistant on a part-time basis. Okay, and God bless him. Great guy. I'm assuming well-raised. His dad's well-liked, one of the most loved people in the business. But you can't have a wrestling son writing. You look at Vince Russo, look at Ed Ferrara, look at the WCW writing team during the Monday Night Wars. How many of those people had in-ring wrestling experience and gave us phenomenal product every week?
Actually, they're second that with the addition of Kevin Sullivan and J.J. Dillon and Larry Sabisco, those guys, they help book and do a lot of things. With
they
the
book.
actual help, they did, but that's what I mean. I'm not saying writing, but the fact is when wrestling was hot in the 80s, in the 90s, you had bookers and our writers, and that's what I mean further needs to go back to. Yes, you need entertaining minds like the Bischoffs, like the Russos, like the F. Ferraras, some others that, just ran it was fun. But then you had the bookers, the Dusties, which, sadly Dusty's gone, the J.J. Dillons, the Kevin Sullivans, even Terry Taylor, the Larry Sabiscos, even Hall and Nash, which even helped out, even Hogan, those that kind of could have helped with some of the direction and make it fun through the viewers. I feel it has to be a mix. But like Kevin Nash mentioned before, you have all these TV writers writing about wrestling and entertainment. They don't even understand what it is to be punched to hit. And incorporate all these Hollywood storylines that may work for USA or work for CW or WB, but it don't work for wrestling. It needs to be just a whole. It needs to be a whole overall. WWE is entertainment. They're not really wrestling, but still change has to be done. And like you said, I agree with you. Dewey Foley, no. What do you know? You know what I mean? And somebody like that, like we don't want him. But somebody with at least some TV experience and also in-ring experience that can kind of get the best of both worlds to where, okay, kind of book good matches for us to be entertained, but then also the entertainment aspect to where we can be entertained while watching it. WCW did it great.
When Vince Russo was in his 30s. He was in his prime, writing for the Attitude Era. Okay? Ed Ferraro, same thing, in his 30s. Okay? The next great wrestling writer is not even in the company yet. They're out there somewhere. A gifted, talented writer who is in their mid-20s to early 30s. okay? That person's out there. WWE needs to find that person. Get that next brilliant wrestling guy. It's not going to be some guy who's 45 or 50 years old, okay? You got to be in touch with your audience.
Yeah, I agree with that part. Go, GB.
I want to say, and playing a little bit of devil's advocate, I'm not going to completely blame the writers. I'm going to blame Vince McMahon because you have these guys and these girls who could be very talented, you got to also remember all their ideas are being filtered by Vince McMahon. He takes what he thinks is the best fit for whatever and whoever characters, and the rest pretty much get dumped out. And that's what he goes by. It all goes to his approval. So there could have been great storylines or great matches or something that could have happened, but he stopped it, or he might have felt like, I didn't want this to happen right then and there, and then they do it later, and, it's bullshit. It's not good. It doesn't produce. So you also got to take in consideration of that. Remember, when we had Bischoff on the show, the few times that we've had him, he said that it takes not only a great TV writer, but also takes a great booker. It's not one or the other. It takes both. And when you have somebody who's pretty much have you ball and chain, and you can't really utilize your full potential, you're going to keep putting out shitty stories because you are not able to be the writer or be, working to your full potential. So just to play devil's advocate, I think they do have some talent up there because I can see little glimmers of hope, little sparkles of progress, a little bit of potential. But I think that Vince McMahon is pretty much keeping it under wraps, and he's pretty much shutting it down because at the end of the day, this is his show. This is his program. This is his baby. This is his company. So.
Saltine.
Now, what we talking about again, bro?
Man, where you been at? Oh,
really?
I'm sorry.
This sodium level. See.
I'm so sorry. What's going
on?
Now,
you just mentioned how basically how Raw could be better. No,
Raw.
Angry Mark was saying how bringing in a good mindset, good creative mindset that is in the WWE now, whoever he is. I said bringing in bookers again that could help to a degree. And I see Gameboy mentioned how he's not going to blame it all on the writers. He's going to blame it on Vince. So real quick, how do you feel?
Well, I would honestly hire like the old school guys who knows how to basically tell the story. And I said this before, and I talked to you personally about this. Jake the Snake Roberts, Terry Funk, Mick Foley, most of them guys can make stories happen, and it'd be like really great. And you could even add Paul Heyman to the mix because back then, when we used to watch it, those stories were compelling, and it makes you believe. And I love when you can believe a story. It's like you watching a movie like, oh, wow, damn, I can't believe he really did that. When we watching those Asian movies like Umbach and all you just can't believe they could do that shit. So you be like, yeah, we want to believe that they can really do that. So, yeah, but Umbach, yeah, he really did his stunt without any wires. So, yeah, that's really tight shit. So what I'm saying is WWE needs guys like that who can bring compelling stories and make the audience interested. Say, yeah, this is great shit. So that was my idea on that.
Anybody else want to add on to anything on this topic? Angry Mark, anything you want to add?
Hey, do we have another caller trying to call in?
Yeah, we do. We'll bring them in. See you call. We'll bring them in 1 second.
I think you wanted to add something to what you said.
We'll bring him in. Give me 1 second. Wait for it to load. Can't forget to number your mind, Krista Joseph, a good buddy, head creative writer for Lucha Underground, who used to be in WWE. You put him up there with one of the great minds of wrestling. who is the next great mind as far as writing, the Russos, the Bischoffs, the Ferraras, the Josephs, the so forth and so on, who knows. I remember just like yesterday on a side note, then I'll bring the caller in. I remember when Hogan left, and I remember when Austin left. And I remember this article distinctly. It was 2002, and they had an article of who's going to be the next Austin, who's going to be the next person to carry the WWE. Because, The Rock past his prime, Austin, Triple H, they all kind of, and everybody was just searching, and people saying Edge, and, brought up names Mysterio, and people even brought up, Mark Jindrak, and, different people. And the whole time, next year, too, John Cena popped up. He ended up being the man for the next 10, 15 so years. So, as we're talking about this now, it's kind of good to see in the next year, too, who is the next great writer to kind of revolutionize the business. That definitely needed. Caller, Under the Mat Radio, welcome live with Tech, Fantasy Gameboy, Saltine, Angry Mark. Is this Gil Mill?
What up?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Whoa. What's up, baby?
You wanted to add on into the talk?
I have to agree with what Mark said earlier. They have to look for a writer that is of this era, so to say, because let's say you bring back a booker from the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, they're going to book how they booked during their prime, and it might work, it might not work. You know what I mean? It has to go. I have to kind of agree with Triple H to an extent that times have changed to a degree in the wrestling business.
Okay.
Let me ask you this, Gil. What are your thoughts on not only Vince McMahon holding a product back, but who is the man in charge of talent relations? That would be Triple H. Okay? Even though he's a suit now, I still see his finger on this as an issue with booking on the main roster because, he looks at that main roster and he sees himself. And he reminds himself of the Attitude Era when he was hot. Okay? He's not hot anymore. And he is the guy in talent relations. Okay? He is the third most powerful person in the company. Period. And I think it's a combination of Vince and Hunter. I think it's time for change at the upper management of WWE. That's my opinion. What's your thoughts?
I agree. As you can see, as far as the WWE roster goes, you compare it to the NXT roster. And besides all the callers that they had, who do you think had the stronger roster?
Who? Between who?
NXT and the WWE. Well, let's not compare the roster. Let's compare the product. I can only picture Triple H pulling his hair out, whatever hair he has left, dealing with Vince. But, yeah, I do agree. It's time for Vince to, move down to Florida and retire like a happy snowbird. Triple H, I think as soon as Vince goes bye-bye, he'll really blossom. But as long as Vince is in charge, which he will be for a while, and dictating the product how it is, nothing's going to change.
Well, I will go on record to say I'm not going to mention who he is, but and NC Gameboy was with me. There's a certain member of the clique, and we've heard him say this, where he said, right now, Vince is driving Triple H nuts and crazy because he's micromanaging Raw. NC Gameboy, you remember that?
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yep,
so,
remember that one.
Yeah, and we're not mentioning who, but he said it verbatim to us and the boys. He said Triple H right now is pulling his hair out, and he said Vince is driving, Paul. He said, direct quote, Vince is driving Paul up, the creek because Trips Paul wants to do more, but Vince micromanages every single thing on Raw, and it's driving him crazy. That's why Paul, Triple H, enjoys NXT. He said it outwardly on the interview when they had the NXT roundtable, whatever it was, when he said how, he gets there more control. But, yeah. NXT Gameboy, anything to add? Then I know Angry Mark want to add something.
No, really, it's not really much to add. I think we already kind of got our point across. I think the only thing left really to say is that numbers don't lie, and I understand Vince has been at the helm. Vince has been at the helm from day one with the WWE for over 30 years, and I mean if you want to keep any type of business alive, you got to keep up with the times. And the only way you're going to keep up with the times is you hire people that can display certain characteristics that can help your business keep up with the times. We're not using the same cash registers that we were using back in the 90s. We're not using the same laptops or computers or programs that we used 5 years ago, let alone 10 or 20 years ago. I mean, let's be serious.
I know some people that still try, but fail.
If you want to be successful in business, one of the key opponents that you need is to make sure that you keep up with the times. As things change, you must change. And I think Vince thinks that because these are superstars and that he knows what the fans want, he can give it to them, and then everything will be fine. This is the same man that gave us John Cena for 10 years. And now he's pushing Roman Reigns down our throat. Roman Reigns is a face, and he's getting booed out the building night in, night out. What is the problem with that? Why is your champion, your face champion at that, your baby face, getting booed out the building day in and day out? After he just had another great quote-unquote match at WrestleMania twice in a row, but he's getting booed out the building. What is the problem with that? So that's the only talks I wanted to pretty much say. Get my little input on.
Let me ask y'all this. I brought this up yesterday on our podcast, the Way Too Real Show. We had Angry Mark on there. We know that Titus O'Neil's coming back pretty soon. And we know he does a lot for the WWE as far as being an ambassador, so to say. But now that we have Apollo Crews on the main roster, why do we need, Titus O'Neil still? I think they're going to just end up cutting him loose.
Wow. Getting them cut? God damn. That's crazy.
No, but what you can do with him is you can turn him heel and let him work a program with Apollo Crews to put him over.
You think? Well, I mean, I think that would be a good type of feud right there because I mean, both of them are pretty athletic. Of course, Crews is much younger and more resilient in per se. So I think that actually could work. I think that really could boost up and kind of leave a mark for Titus because outside the WWE, he had made a lot of great connections with a lot of different businesses and corporations and stuff. And I'm pretty sure they would love to use him. He's really become a little personality, like TV personality on some of these interviews and commercials.
Hey, Gil, let me touch on one more thing with Gameboy. And let's take this a step further. If Titus comes back and calls out Apollo Crews for trying to take his spot on the roster while he's been gone, now you're going to get you'll get a bigger pop for Apollo Crews Because to be honest with you, it's not like people are erupting in their seats for him, okay? But all of a sudden, you put Titus O'Neil in there, and you kind of bring a little bit of that storyline, fact and fiction. Hey, I've been gone for 2 months. Who do you think you are coming from NXT to take my spot? Let the two black guys feud, because guess what? It's good for the business. It's gonna draw in African Americans and other minorities to watch these two perform. Titus O'Neil is a great talker. Okay? Now, mind you, is he a stiff motherfucker in the ring? Yes. He's got to tone it down, so he doesn't hurt Apollo, and that's real. But you got a possibility here of building Titus O'Neil into a new heel who could possibly really do some things. And especially if they go to a brand split, you're going to need the diversity on the roster.
I think they both smile too much.
You think they smile too much?
That's true.
I agree.
I mean,
but
I look at it like this, real quick, guys. I'll give you a few examples of why I think that, the idea that y'all came up with is great, no doubt. But the reason I don't think they'll have two of them is because of all the comparisons. I'll give you a few examples. Are y'all familiar with Just Incredible from ECW?
Yeah, I booked him.
There you go. When he was at ECW, he had, almost a stone cold kind of look. Not attitude, but look. So when ECW folded, or when they were folding, the WWE brought him in. They totally changed his look, made him shave his mustache and goatee because they said, we don't need two stone colds here. That is legit. That came out about late 2000 on a newsletter I used to read, not the fucking Wrestling Observer. And then, do y'all remember Mason Ryan? Hello?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah. Do y'all remember
Mason
Ryan?
Yeah, we had him on the show. Yeah, remember him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's more than a coincidence that Chris Jericho called him Batiste too. Okay, when he was on the main roster, there was a time that Batista wanted to come back to the WWE, and Vince McMahon said, we don't need two Batistas here. You know what I mean? So I kind of get that vibe that that's what's going to happen with Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews. It's just opinion, though, speculation. What do y'all think after those examples?
Okay, well, I'll chime in on this one. I see where you're going at, and I agree with you, but the only reason why I would think that he would try to do it is because, Vince McMahon still got some heat from, a lot of the people, saying that it was racism, that the reason why Titus O'Neil got suspended and everything. And what better way to show that, I'm not a racist is to make sure that you have not just one, but two guys out there fighting for pretty much their personality. Because, it's not like they're going to get a world belt or anything, because that's not what they do. So the only thing they will be fighting for is their personality, or which one deserves to get the spot. And I think Apollo Crews deserves that spot. He's a much better wrestler, and he has a lot better moveset than Titus. But of course, Titus has been in the back. He has a lot of connections and stuff. So I would like to see how that will kind of play out, just to see who will win between the skills and the connections.
Apollo's much more polished. You know what I mean? Titus seems kind of green to me. He's a brute. He's kind of dangerous in the ring. Yeah. And this is the reason I don't think that, Vince suspending Titus was racist. Because let's say you had a guy like Adam Rose, somebody from the Ascension, or even Daniel Bryan. Let's say it was someone else retiring, and they would have grabbed Vince's arm like that, I think Vince would have not even considered a suspension. He would have fired him because you know how he feels about smaller guys.
True.
You know what I mean?
Well,
I think he went a lot easier on Titus than he would have on somebody like those guys I mentioned.
I agree with you because, you know, when I first saw it, I didn't think it was racism either. You know, because from a lot of the people that I've interviewed and being on the show for almost 3 years, talking to a lot of African American wrestlers, a lot of black wrestlers, you know, most of them say that Vince McMahon, they don't really get a racist vibe from him. He's one of those guys like, hey, can you make money? If you can make money, he's your guy. You know, if you can't make money, he don't want nothing to do with you. He don't care about your color. He cares about wages. You know, he cares about your net worth. You know, that's the type of guy he is. So I didn't think that the incident was a racist incident, and him going overboard. Well, you know, I can understand why he went overboard. He's a Virgo. I'm a Virgo. I go overboard sometimes, so I can understand that. But right now, when especially with the media, with Donald Trump in the politics, and with Black Lives Matter movement and everything, there's a lot of tension from a lot of these outlets to making sure that, you know, there's no racism. And not even just racism, just prejudice at all, you know, with gay rights and transgender rights and all that. You feel me? So the best way for him to, I think, smooth things down is to have both Apollo Crews and Titus O'Neil have a nice rivalry, you know, a good storyline. Like Mark said, you know, he can be like, you know, he came and took his shine, and, you know, we all know Titus can be a heel. We've seen him be a heel before, and he actually wasn't bad as a heel. You know, I've never seen Titus O'Neil in a real great match. Like, when the last time you said, oh, yeah, I remember that match with Titus and such and such? You know, when the last time have you said that? You probably never said it, because when the last time you ever seen it? So it would be good to see a one-on-one action of two guys fighting, and maybe something more can develop from it. You know, maybe the fans can rally behind it. You know, we don't know. But it's worth a shot. It's better than just moving him to the side and just saying, hey, here's the new guy, you know?
True. I mean, just because another black guy's on TV don't mean you got to drop the other one. You got to have diversity. Shout out to Darren Young, which no one talks about him, the forgotten black man. So
he was in the Andre the Giant Memorial thing.
Yeah, he's great.
I seen him.
Okay. Yeah, we did too. We saw him. You know, he was in there. But yeah, you said have him, you know, use the momentum from Titus getting suspended, bring him in as a heel. The more diversity, the better. You know, it doesn't hurt. It's Gilmore, to your point. Eddie Guerrero, Great Late Eddie, in WWE, right? Remember him?
Of course.
Now, suppose if you use your theory of just because, well, we got a black man in now, so we can just cut Titus O'Neil, we won't need another one. What happened to WWE did that to Ray? Ray and Eddie are both Latino. Hey, Latinos descend of Hispanic. WWE, what if they did that to Ray? That would have crushed him. Because still to this day, Rey Mysterio is the end all be all. He's the Latino Hogan. The Hispanic the Hispanic demographic when Ray was in WWE, top notch. They needed Ray. And to this day, they still haven't found anybody to top Ray when it comes to that. Del Rio, no. Sin Cara, we know how that went. They still can't. But when Eddie and Ray, when they feuded, they helped a lot. You know, of course, we know they wrestled against each other forever. But in the WWE, it raised their game up to a new level and it helped them out. So, nothing wrong with having two of the same people going against each other to help build each other. Now, Darren Young will probably get cut because, you know, what does he do?
Well, WWE has had every gimmick for a black man stereotype. Okay, would you two black men agree?
Mm-hmm.
No.
They've done.
Yes, they have.
They've done ghetto. They've done supposed ghetto.
Wait, what's our truth ones? Yeah, they did crackhead. You're right.
They've even done a slave. Virgil.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
I mean, it's time that talent, the cream rises to the top in the minorities. Let these guys showcase their skills. Man, even if you have them feud on superstars, it's an improvement. You know what I mean?
Yes, superstars. Jack.
But I want to see Titus O'Neil come back and be the most hated guy, get the biggest heel pop on every show, because it'll, and you know how the internet fans are, they're gonna cheer it.
You know how hypocritical they are too, but
But yeah, that's just my thought. I think Titus O'Neil can come back and be some fucking... He's the one who needs to come out wearing a suit, not fucking Cesaro trying to look like he's fucking 007 or fucking, Men in Black.
Hitman.
Hitman.
Shut up to that game. Well,
yeah, I mean,
with that,
Cesaro's lost.
That's all good. He said, we definitely can see Apollo Crews definitely enjoying, very athletic. Gilmore, you're right, they do smile too much.
Yes, they do.
Now,
I agree
they did. The next topic, and then, we still have a topic to talk about. The Bullet Club. Gallows, good buddy of ours, one of the nicest guys. Him and his wife, very great people. Gallows and Anderson. Debuts on Raw. Now, me and myself, because my schedule, I didn't really get a chance to really see it. I saw clips, so I didn't really get a chance to really watch it on Raw yet, to really get a vibe from the crowd. Showed up. Was on Raw last week, debuted. He showed up yesterday. Shout out to MD Nice, who filled me in on what happened, attacking Samoa Cena and Roman Reigns. Started with Saltine, and then NFC Gameboy, Gil Mill, and then Angry Mark. Your thoughts on how the Bullet Club, Anderson, and Gallows are being used?
I think it's actually going to be fun. I think they're going to really slowly progress them to bring Finn Balor or something up. And the reason why is I'm thinking like Finn Balor, I'm just going to say Finn Balor going to send them to attack people and everything. It's sending a message like, okay, we coming, we're going to fuck you up and we're going to take over this shit. And it would be interesting to have some, like the Bullet Club, get into a rivalry with Shane McMahon and the Doherty and see who will run the company. That shit would be awesome. And then, like, Finn Balor come up with his, gimmick crazy. Like, people are like, what the fuck is this going on? And it makes the show more interesting. So I'm really looking forward to that. I really want something like that to happen.
So, Teens World, it's not wrestling. It's wrestling.
Wrestling.
Put us in there. Jeep Game Boy.
Yes, sir.
Your thoughts on Anderson, Gallows, Bullet Club, whatever you want to call them? Return to Festus and Fake Kane?
Well, I did watch majority of Raw, and I did see the attack on Roman Reigns, which was a very good move, by the way. Very nice attack. My fear is that unless the Shield is coming back together, I don't see how this is going to really help the Bullet Club on AJ Styles, because we know that Vince McMahon has single-handedly picked Roman Reigns to keep the belt. And we know he's not going to lose the belt no time soon. So I would have had waited till later on down the road and maybe had the Bullet Club attack Roman Reigns and maybe Roman, couldn't beat him and went and asked for help and redid the Shield, and maybe the Shield could have got the back together for a match, 1 or 2 matches or something. That'd have probably got a big pop, to see those guys back together, because it's been like almost over a year or so, a year or 2 now.
Yeah.
But them attacking, it's just, to me, it's kind of pointless, because we know that AJ's not going to win. So, it's going to, once again, it's them having a great fraction, going around, and they doing nothing with it, just like the Wyatt family, the same thing. It's like, it makes no sense. If you're going to feed something new and it's going to get, beaten, it's going to lose its momentum. And with the fans, wrestling fans, it resonates with them very quickly. So if they start seeing you losing, they're going to lose interest, and then thus that it's going to make them look bland. So I was a little disappointed about how fast they did that, but I want to see how it turns out with this AJ Styles saying that he has nothing to do with them and they trying to help him. So it's whatever.
Angry Mark.
Well, okay. There's a lot of different directions they can go with this, with Anderson, Gallows, and AJ. Right now, they're having the, AJ play dumb. Okay. Now, can they do that? Yes. Can they make it so AJ aligns with them? Yes. Can they make it seem like AJ is not aligning with them? Yeah. And later on we find out that Finn Balor's been pulling the strings the whole time? Yes. The great thing about Gallows and Anderson is the internet wrestling community has them over. Okay? It's not because they've been, visible in any U.S. television production. These guys are going to add a dynamic to the show that they need. They can go face, they can go heel, they'll have that, feeling of the Shield, so to speak, because they're building this for Roman Reigns and the Usos to form their own alliance, okay? They've been hitting at it now for 3 weeks. He's been dropping the words family, left and right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay? If it's going to be 3 people, you need to have 3 people. So that tells me it's either going to be AJ Styles or Finn Balor. They can go any direction with this, face or heel. And Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, and AJ will still be over regardless. It's a win-win situation for the booking department. Okay? And my thing is, I don't want to see Gallows and Anderson immediately go after New Day. I want to keep them as far away from the New Day as possible if I'm Vince McMahon. New Day is your merch seller. They are your money maker. Okay? I do not want to take the belts off these guys. I want to let these guys possibly have the longest reign of any tag team in the history of the WWE. Okay?
So the question is, Angry Mark, real quick, just to chime in. Are you a believer of the booty of life? Got to answer that question.
I have been a believer in the New Day since before any of y'all were. So, yes,
so you like
I'm
booty.
a believer. I like a good female booty of my wife, yes.
So wouldn't that be the angry booty?
Yeah, I like the angry booty. Yep.
I
got my priorities.
Gameboy,
I have my priorities.
There.
Earlier tonight, I watched Limitless, and I sent her ass for beer. So I know what's up,
Where Gilmore at? You awake?
Yeah, I think it's great. Anderson, Gallows, you can do anything with them. You can switch them up, and you keep their persona the same. And I'm telling you now, here's where the comparisons are going to come in about a month. They're going to be compared to the APA. Okay? You heard it here first. They're going to be associated. You watch. They're going to try and compare them to Bradshaw and Simmons.
Will JBL put him over?
Just watch and see. It's going to be very interesting with the booking of them, especially going into SummerSlam.
Gameboy, you gave your thoughts already?
I don't know.
Well, you thought of Anderson and Gallows. What are they calling them? Gallows and Anderson? They call them by their own names?
Yeah.
They are? Yeah, they are.